Hi, today I'm going to teach you how to make some flowers using paper plates. I'm also going to teach you how to make flowers using sugar paper or something like that, and also some really simple pretty little flowers just using tissue paper. Right, let's get started. So first we're going to work on our paper plate. So for this you are going to need 3 paper plates, a glue stick, potentially some double-sided sticky tape if you have some, a pencil or a pen, some scissors and some string if you have any. So for our first paper plate we're going to use pretty much the whole of it up until around this point. Our second paper plate we're going to mostly use the centre, and for our third paper plate we're going to make our smaller section which will form this middle part of our flower. The edges, don't worry, we will be using those to form the very centre of our flower. Okay, so we're going to take our first paper plate and you're going to fold it into quarters. And then once you've got 4 quarters, like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to fold the whole thing again in half. You can take your pen and from the top corner you can draw a line coming further round and down to make a petal shape, and you're just going to cut across that line or close enough to. Don't forget we're going to save these bits, and you should end up with a flower shape like this. If you're not happy with your shape and you potentially want your edges to come in a little further, you can fold it back up and cut again. Okay, now your second plate, we're going to do the same, only this time when we cut our flower, I'll show you, we're going to bring our line a little bit further down. So once again, you're going to fold your plate into 4. Four quarters, so in half and then in half again. And then you're going to fold the whole thing back in half. Okay, so exactly the same as we did the first time. This time, so our line started around here and we came down here. This time we're going to start even smaller, so we're going to start about here and bring the line down. Like this. And then you're just going to cut again along that line. Keep the middle. Okay, so you have a shape similar to this. As you can see, they're both slightly smaller than each other. Then what you're going to do with your third plate, you guessed it, fold in half, fold in half again, and then fold in half once more. And this time you're going to cut even further down to make a petal shape. and eventually you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now I'm not too happy with my centre one. I actually want a little bit more definition. So I'm going to fold this up again. And I'm just going to go a little bit further down on this side. There we go. So you end up with a slightly different petal shape. Okay. Now what you're going to do before we start assembling is take a pen or a pencil and just roll each one of these petals over the top. Keep going. All the way around. Okay, until you're back to the beginning. Okay, and the same with the other one. You can roll it in or out, it doesn't matter as long as you're curving those petals. Okay, same with the outside one. I'm going to curl these petals outwards. Really big petals. Okay, then what you want to do is poke a hole in the centre of each of them. So for this I've just got a bit of corrugated cardboard and I'm just pushing my pencil through each one of those layers. Okay, now the outside bit, I'm just going to cut along the edge. Like this. So you've got a nice strip. And you're just going to cut down all the way along to make a fringe effect. Okay, so now you've got your fringe, I just want you to go along and separate them out a little bit. Just bend them back. Like that. And then if you do have double-sided tape, that's great. If not, glue will do. And you get your little piece of double-sided tape. Oh, might need my scissors. Stick it on to your centerpiece at the end and just roll the rest in on itself. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be pretty, just quite a loose roll all the way along till you get to that sticky end. Stick it down. You have something that looks a bit like that. Okay, and now for these middle sections, what you're going to do is get your piece of string. If not, at this stage, you'll just glue all of these middle bits down together. Just being aware that you want to keep your petals nice and separated. Okay, so what you're going to do with this is tie a little knot in the end. Or another way that I like to do it, and you can do this as well, is just to make 2 little loops that you're tying shoelaces, pull one through, and then you've made a little bow, so you have an even bigger centerpiece. And you're just going to work that, and you might want your pencil to help push through. Just going to work that through each one of your layers. So 1, oh, that's my other one, 2. So don't worry if it gets a bit messy. I'm going to be filling the middle anyway. I may have done that the wrong way round, but not to worry. And your final one, and you're just going to push through pencil. And 3. Have something that looks a bit like this. As I say, I think I mixed my middle and my outside up, but it doesn't matter too much. Petals, you can still see them all. And then at the back, you're just going to tie a knot, or just tape it at the back. And then with your centerpiece, you can either use glue or double-sided sticky tape. And it's not an exact art, but we're going to try and stick this down to the centre. So I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided sticky tape. I'm just going to stick it down one side here. And I'm just going to stick my outer layer down to there. And you can get some more of your outside bits to stick down to as well. So I'm going to pop another little bit there. Again, there's no exact science to this, it's just trying to get it to stick. And stick the outside further down. And there, and then you can separate your petals out a little bit more and curling them in. And you have a very pretty paper flower. Our next one is just made from sugar paper, and this you can do really in any style you like. So what we're going to do is fold 2 sheets of sugar paper together. Get a circle template, could be a tin lid, anything at all. And again, these can be different shapes as well, different sizes. It's entirely up to you how you work these ones. Okay, so we've got a nice circle there. I'm going to just cut all the way around the circle. Doesn't need to be perfect. Mine certainly isn't. Okay. And take a couple of them. So I've got 2 here. In half again, like we do with the paper plates. And you can either draw it out or you can just choose to freewheel it. I'm just going to do a few petals here. Like that. We just cut out our petals. Very similar to the paper plate method. Okay, and then for our next one or 2, You can do a different shape. With this one, I'd recommend adding a few more petals into, probably a little bit finer. So with this one, I'm going to go for long, thin petals to form the centre. And the great thing about this is you can really do any shape. Open them all out. What you're going to do with these is spin them slightly so that the petals aren't aligned anymore, like that, and that's how you're going to glue them down. So you take your glue stick, and where you can see the cross, where you folded it, just go along those lines. And again, we're not going for perfect here because they don't need to be. And then again, do a little blue line along the middle. You can go for it a bit more in the middle. And where you see those cross lines, you're just going to fold in. So you're just going to push them all together and pull them out slightly. So you're really just pinching the bottom is all you're doing. And the same with this section here. Going to glue these together. Pop. Nice big bit in the middle here. You get your smaller petals, and you're just going to squash the bigger petals around the outside. Oops, I'm just falling apart in the middle. There we go. Yeah, and you're going to do the same with these ones on the outside. So just squash them in slightly. Pull all of your petals out, just keeping hold of that bottom part. And you can see with this one, I did actually put a hole through the middle of them. You may want to do that. Again, it's just taking your pencil, pushing it through the middle. Doesn't need to be perfect till you got a hole. And then you can take some string, and all you do, you can make some bunny ears like I did before. Tie it into a bow. And same bunny ears. Tie it into a bow. And then you're going to push your strings right through the middle and push them through with your pencil until you see them come out the other side. Oh. Mine's got stuck to my pencil. There we go. And just pull through the middle there. And then just push it into those four corners. And there you have a pretty paper sugar flower. Now our final flower, all you need are squares of tissue paper and glue. And it's up to you whether you get scissors involved or not, because with the squares they make pretty shapes anyway. So all you're going to do is layer up a couple of different tones of one colour, so they might be reds and pinks, or I'm using blues here, and you just layer them up, just making sure that they're not exact. So you want to kind of replicate the sort of flower, so these are going to become our petals. And all you do is, once you're happy with the arrangement, or you can do it as you go, is just put a little dot of glue in the centre of each one. As you flip them down, they should stick together. You only need a little dot of glue. And then, the magic bit, you take the bottom and you scrunch it. And that's it. Pretty flower. Or you can curl the edges round a little bit if you want to. It just adds a nice bit of texture to those sorts of flowers that we've already got there. Or if you wanted to elevate it slightly, you can use our method of folding, and you can cut yourself some pretty petals. So you can draw these on first if you want to. You don't have to. You can just go for it. I made ourselves some pretty petals there. And then I'm going to make myself some pretty petals to the middle. They look a bit like butterflies. Okay. And then again, all you're doing is layering and sticking. So stick, layer, stick, layer, stick, another little layer there, stick. Just keep alternating which way your petals are facing. So you want them all facing different directions. And then pinch the bottom. There again, made a very pretty tissue paper flower. So there you have it. Tissue paper flowers, sugar paper flowers, or any sort of paper really. And then your beautiful cardboard plate flowers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy making them.